The smell of charcoal and burgers filled my parents' backyard, but I'd lost my appetite an hour ago. I sat at the picnic table, laptop open, responding to urgent emails from my legal team while Dad held court near the grill with his co-workers from Meridian Manufacturing. Kevin's still playing with his computers, Dad announced loud enough for everyone to hear. 28 years old and he sits in his apartment typing all day. I keep telling him to apply at Meridian. We've got openings in the warehouse. Laughter rippled through the group. I didn't look up from my screen, fingers steady on the keyboard as I approved the final wire transfer. $340 million. The acquisition would be announced Monday morning. My sister Jennifer appeared at my shoulder, her engagement ring catching the sunlight. She worked in HR at a mid-sized firm and never let me forget she had a real career. Mom's really upset you're working during my engagement party, Kevin. This is supposed to be about family. I'm here, aren't I? I closed the laptop. The deal was done anyway. Physically. She rolled her eyes. Dad invited his whole management team. The least you could do is socialize instead of playing video games or whatever you do. I'm not playing games. I'm working. Right. Working. Her tone dripped with condescension. Mom told me you still haven't gotten a real job. How are you even paying rent? I'd stopped explaining years ago that I ran a software company. They dismissed it as a hobby when I started it at 22 and nothing I said changed their minds. My company now employed 400 people across 6 countries and generated $200 million in annual revenue. But to my family I was unemployed Kevin who did computer stuff. I manage, I said simply. Jennifer's fiancé Marcus joined us, putting his arm around her waist. He was a pharmaceutical sales rep who drove a leased BMW and never stopped talking about his commissions. Still doing the freelance thing? He asked with false sympathy. Jen mentioned you might need help with the rent. I've got connections if you want a real job. I'm fine but thanks. Dad's voice boomed across the yard. Kevin. Come over here. I want you to meet some people. I walked over to find him standing with 3 men in Meridian polo shirts. I recognized them from the due diligence reports my team had compiled. Dan Fletcher, VP of Operations. Robert Chin, Chief Financial Officer. And James Whitmore, Dad's direct supervisor and VP of Manufacturing. This is my son, Dad said. The one I told you about. Still trying to make it as a computer guy. More laughter. Kevin, these are the executives from Meridian. Mr. Whitmore here just told me I'm being considered for senior director. That's not confirmed, Bill, Whitmore said quickly, but Dad wasn't listening. Been with the company 18 years, Dad continued. Worked my way up from the floor. That's what real work looks like, Kevin. Showing up every day, putting in the hours. Not sitting at home in your pajamas. Build up. I shook hands with each executive, watching recognition flash across Robert Chen's face. He'd been in the final negotiation meetings. His eyes widened slightly but he said nothing. Professional courtesy probably. The announcement wasn't until Monday. Nice to meet you all, I said evenly. Bill tells us you do computer consulting? Fletcher asked politely. Before I could respond, Dad jumped in. He calls it consulting. Mostly he helps people fix their printers and set up email. I keep telling him to get certified, maybe work for a real IT company, but he insists on doing his own thing. I'd founded NextCore Solutions 6 years ago with money from my first software sale. We specialized in automation systems for manufacturing, predictive maintenance algorithms that saved companies millions in downtime. Meridian Manufacturing had been using our software for 3 years before reaching out about a full acquisition. They wanted the technology. I wanted vertical integration. IT is a solid field, Chin said carefully. His discomfort was obvious to me, but Dad didn't notice. Sure, if you work for a real company, Dad said. Kevin freelances. No benefits, no stability, no future. His mother worries constantly. Mom appeared then with a tray of drinks. We just want him settled, she said. Jennifer has her career, her fiancé, a wedding to plan. Kevin just drifts. I'm not drifting, Mom. You won't even tell us how much you make, she said. When we ask about your work, you change the subject. It's like you're ashamed. I wasn't ashamed. I was tired of explaining to people who'd already decided I was failing. Last year's tax return showed $42 million in personal income, but they'd never believe that. When I bought my downtown loft for $2 million in cash, I told them I was renting. When I drove to their house in my Tesla, Dad assumed I'd leased it to look successful. Jennifer called everyone over for the engagement announcement. Marcus made a speech about finding his soulmate while Dad beamed with pride. "Now this is success," Dad said loud enough for me to hear. "Good job, good future settling down. This is what I'm talking about, Kevin. This is what life looks like when you make good choices." The executives from Meridian looked uncomfortable. Fletcher excused himself to take a phone call. Chin stared at his beer like it held answers. Whitmore cleared his throat. "Bill, maybe we should talk about the promotion thing." "Monday morning, right?" Dad grinned. "You said the announcement would be Monday. Senior director, 20% raise, full management team. 18 years and it's finally happening." "Well, there's been some developments," Whitmore started, but Dad wasn't listening. He turned to his coworkers. "Kevin here could learn something from this. You put in the time, you get rewarded. None of this gig economy nonsense, no working from home in your pajamas, no pretending typing on a computer is a real career." "I actually have a real career," I said quietly. "You've just never asked about it." "Oh, here we go." Dad rolled his eyes. "Tell them, Kevin. Tell them about your big important computer job." Everyone was watching now. Jennifer looked mortified. Mom's face had that pinched expression she got when she thought I was embarrassing the family. Marcus smirked. "I run a software company," I said. "We develop automation systems for manufacturing facilities." "A software company," Dad repeated mockingly. "You and every other kid with a laptop. How many employees you got in this company?" "Let me guess, 0. 412 as of last week." Dad laughed. "Sure you do. And I'm sure you're making millions. Last year the company generated $200 million in revenue. My personal income was a bit lower." I paused. $42 million. The silence was immediate and total. Jennifer's mouth fell open. Marcus stopped mid-sip. Mom looked like I'd slapped her. "That's not funny," Dad said. "Don't lie to make yourself look better." Robert Chin set down his beer. "Bill, he's not lying." Dad turned to him confused. "What?" "Your son isn't lying about his company. NextCore Solutions. We've been using their software for 3 years. It's exceptional work. Cut our maintenance downtime by 60%. The color drained from Dad's face. "NextCore? That's Kevin?" "Revelation. That's what I've been trying to tell you." Chin looked at me apologetically. "We probably shouldn't say more until Monday's announcement." Whitmore's face went pale as he pulled out his phone. "I just got the email," he said. "They moved the announcement up. There was a leak." He stared at his screen, then at me, then at Dad. "The deal went through Friday. NextCore Solutions bought Meridian Manufacturing for $340 million. The new owner is," he looked straight at me, "Kevin Hartwell." The backyard went silent. Someone dropped a beer can. Dad blinked at me. "That's impossible." "It's not," Whitmore said quietly. "The board confirmed it. Starting now, everyone reports to the new owner. Meeting Monday 9 a.m. Kevin bought Meridian?" Mom whispered. Fletcher stepped forward, embarrassed. "Mr. Hartwell, I'm sorry. If I'd known you were Bill's son." "You didn't know because I asked for privacy," I said, shaking his hand. "I wanted the deal judged on merit, not family." Jennifer stared at me. "You bought Dad's company?" "The merger made sense," I said simply. "Meridian builds the machines. NextCore makes the software. Together we can create full automation systems." Dad's face turned red. "You're saying you're my boss now?" "Technically you report up the chain, but yes." Kept my tone calm. "No layoffs. No major changes." Whitmore shifted uncomfortably. "Bill, there's one thing. The senior director role is being removed in the restructure. Your current position stays, but the promotion." He stopped. Dad looked stunned. 18 years of work gone in seconds, right in front of everyone at his daughter's engagement party. "There must be a mistake," he said weakly. "No mistake," Chin said. "The board voted yes. NextCore's technology is far ahead of the market." Marcus looked shocked. "You actually have 400 employees?" 412, I said. "We're hiring more, moving into aerospace and automotive." Mom's voice trembled. "And the 42 million? That was last year," I said. "This year will be higher after the merger." I glanced at my watch. I need to join the integration call soon. Dad grabbed my arm. Kevin, if I'd known, I tried to tell you, I said. You never listened. You made up your mind about me 6 years ago. Jennifer stepped forward. Kevin, we're family. We can fix this. We are family, I said softly. But you don't get to ignore me for years and act like it never happened now that I'm successful. She glared. So you're just going to fire Dad? Ruin him because your feelings are hurt. I'm not firing anyone. The restructuring was planned before I knew Dad worked there. His job is safe. His promotion isn't happening, but that's because the position is redundant, not because of our relationship. But you could make it happen, Mom said desperately. You own the company now. I could. But I won't make business decisions based on family obligations. That's not how successful companies operate. Resolution. Dad sank into a lawn chair, his face ashen. His co-workers stood awkwardly, not sure whether to comfort him or congratulate me. The engagement party was over, killed by truth. 18 years, Dad said quietly. I've been telling people my son was a failure for 18 years. You have, I agreed. At dinner parties, family gatherings, company events. You made sure everyone knew I was disappointing. I thought. He looked up at me. I thought I was trying to motivate you. You were trying to shame me into becoming who you wanted. It didn't work. I picked up my laptop and headed for the gate. Behind me, I heard Mom crying and Jennifer trying to comfort her. Marcus asked Fletcher if Meridian was hiring in sales. The executives discussed Monday's meeting in hushed tones. At the gate, I turned back. Dad was still sitting there, the grill smoking behind him, his promotion dream gone, surrounded by co-workers who now knew his son was their boss. He looked smaller somehow. For what it's worth, I said, I hope you stay with the company. You're good at your job. You know the floor operations better than anyone. That has value. But not enough value for the promotion. The promotion was redundant before I knew you worked there. It would have been eliminated regardless. That's just bad timing. He nodded slowly. Will you come to dinner sometime? Let us try again. Maybe eventually. Right now, I need space from people who spent years telling me I wasn't good enough. I left them there in the backyard, the smell of burned burgers drifting over the fence. My phone buzzed with messages from the integration team. Tomorrow I'd tour the Meridian facility, meet with department heads, start planning the merger. But tonight, driving home in my Tesla through the city I'd conquered while my family wasn't watching, I felt something unexpected. Not triumph. Not vindication. Relief. I was finally free from the weight of their expectations, their disappointment, their dismissal. They couldn't hurt me anymore with their assumptions about who I was. The truth was public now, documented in acquisition papers and board announcements and $340 million. I'd bought my freedom from their judgment at market price. And it was worth every penny.